Hey, so I resisted getting a metronome forever because frankly I'm just not great at counting. So if you are like me, you're a musician, maybe you're a guitarist, and you rely on the drums and the bass to keep you in time, well that's great, but sometimes you might play a solo gig and find out that you're faster at the end of the song than you were at the start of the song, and you don't even know it till you listen back to the footage and you're like, what? How am I doing that? Also, when you're trying to learn some more complicated things, there's a lot of specificity involved. I've been working on some funk tunes, for example, recently, and believe me, if you don't know how to count exactly when you need to come in and out with specific riffs, you're going to mess the whole thing up. So finally, it's become inevitable for me to work on my timing, particularly because I'm doing a semester at a music school in New York, and they're all over me for counting and timing and teaching me to read rhythm off of sheets of notation. So it was inevitable. Now, you can get metronomes on your phone, and they're a couple of dollars, and you can get an app that will easily meet most of your needs. But what I've noticed is sometimes I'm on a guitar lesson with a teacher, and then I'm trying to launch the Metronome app on the same phone I'm using for the lesson. It's just not so awesome. Maybe the app doesn't work well with Zoom and you can't really hear it. It occurred to me I could really use a standalone metronome, a single unit, a dedicated device for it. Now, you've all seen the old-fashioned metronomes, that big wooden triangle with the little pendulum that clicks back and forth. And it would be nice to have one, but the less stuff I put in my New York apartment, the better. It's already pretty cluttered. So I figured, let me get something pretty small, and I looked online, saw some good recommendations, and this was one that came up a lot. The Korg MA-1 metronome. It's about $20, so not that expensive, and it's really small and portable too. Why do you need a metronome? Well, the reason I need a metronome is because I'm trying to train myself to internally hear the count. So this is going to take muscle memory, this is going to take mental memory to the point where the count is a bit more automatic in my head. That will lock me in better with the drummer and the bassist. Will also lock me in better on how to work through learning guitar tracks from sheet music, whether it's tab or the actual notation, where you can look at quarter notes, half notes, rests, and try to understand what the hell is going on in a riff and kind of count it out slowly. So it's a great skill to have. So why is this a decent enough metronome? It's great. It has some limitations, but it's decent enough for me. So the features of it, it's got the on and off switch there in the corner. It's pretty small, so you can turn it on, and you have to really kind of get that. You have to be pretty accurate in turning it off, so you're not going to accidentally turn it off when you're trying to stop and start or adjust the settings, which is kind of nice. There's a simple start and stop button, which just stops and starts the metronome counting. The beeping noise, it's fine. It can't really be changed. Old-fashioned metronomes have one sound. Some of the metronome apps that you can get online or on your phone can do things a little differently. You can even get metronomes that'll count 1, 2, 3. You can pay a lot more money for more expensive metronomes, standalone devices that will count in a human voice, 1, 2, 3, 4, or do drums and what have you. I have a looper pedal and I have a drum on that, so I can easily use that as a metronome, and it'll do 4 beats, and it'll accent the first beat with different types of drum samples. You can get drum machines if you want to go further, but for a simple standalone metronome app, it's fine. It's acceptable. There's the volume control, so you can turn it up, you can turn it down. It can get pretty loud. It's loud enough. I played along with some pretty loud music and still can hear the metronome coming through. It has a headphone jack as well, so you can plug it into your headphones if you want to just practice at home, even with the guitar unplugged. You can tap the tempo button to set how quickly the tempo should be, and it'll kind of measure your taps and give you a tempo. Or there's an up and down arrow button here where you can actually just control the tempo by going up and down 1 beat per minute as you go. You can control how many beats are in the measure, 4, 3, I think as much as 9, 1 beat if you want. And you can control the rhythm too, which allows you to play, rather than just say quarter notes with 4 notes per measure, which is kind of straightforward, you can do some more interesting rhythms. 16th notes, triplets. You get a number of options there, which if you're definitely learning how to play certain styles of music where they use particular patterns of rhythm, that can be really helpful too. It has a visual display, so you can kind of see, not only is it counting out which beat you're on of the measure, but there's a kind of a digital pendulum swinging back and forth. I don't know if I really rely on that. For me, it's just the sound. There's also a handy little flip on the back so that you can actually stand the thing up semi-vertically, right, and you can kind of rest it on your desktop or on the amplifier and look at it that way, or on the music stand. So as metronomes go, it's great. It does the job for me. I've resisted it forever. If you're a musician like me or a guitarist like me and you just don't really like to count a whole lot and you think, well, you'll get by, just don't put it off. The sooner you start, the easier it'll get. It's a bit of a nightmare at the start, but it does begin to get easier, and it will just make your overall playing better. The downsides of this, the little beepy, chirpy electronic noise is kind of, it's not great. It does kind of get in your head a little bit. It might be nicer to have some other options, but I'm not prepared to pay that much more for a standalone device. So not the most exciting piece of equipment, but then certain parts of being a musician aren't the most exciting. They're the hard work that goes into making you tighter and better so that you can be exciting when you play live. So I've discovered that it's high time to get this critical piece of equipment for me. That's the one I chose, and I've taken you through the reasons why I chose it, what I like and don't like about it. I'd love to hear other people's comments on timing issues and learning how to do that, and if folks have any tips out there for what makes it just a little bit easier to climb that mountain and make yourself a little tighter as a guitarist, believe me, I'm all ears. So that's all for now. If you like what you see on the channel, please go ahead and click the like button, hit subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you're notified when I post new content. I usually post new gear on Mondays and I post music on Thursdays. That's all for now. Thanks. Have a good one.